the golden voice of Pene Pati, and he is right here. Hello, hi. How lovely to meet you. And we've just been chatting as we were listening to that and realising that not only is it your first performance at the Royal Opera House and Rodolfo, but your first gig in London.
It is.
I mean, that's very cool, Pene. Welcome, first of all.
Now you just put even more pressure. I didn't even think about it that way until you said it. And I thought, oh, wow, yeah, you're right.
I don't think you're going to crumble somehow. There's no stopping you, Pene Pati. No, this is wonderful. Tell us about it. I mean, how's the experience so far?
It's been insane. And I think for me growing up, ever since I got into opera, I always saw the Royal Opera as like the pinnacle of, opera excellence. And I was like, one day I'm going to sing on that stage. Maybe it's because Dame Kiritikanoa set the pathway and we all knew her through the Royal Opera House, the Royal Ballet and Opera. And trying to find the right thing to sing is a challenge in itself. And to finally be on that stage, when the curtain went up on opening night and I was looking out into the audience, I thought, oh my God, like I actually did it. Like the thing I had told myself for so many years while I was studying, the thing I told myself when things were rough, I said, I'm going to sing on that stage. I don't know how, I don't know when, but I will do it. And then it went up and I saw the audience and I saw the smiles and I thought, wow. That's actually come true.
That's super cool. Well, I'm glad you have managed to have that little moment of enjoying it as well before I guess you get swept up in the emotion of the performance and so on.
I mean, you have to enjoy it. I think, you get that rush of enjoyment right in the beginning and then, of course, the opera brings you back down to earth. But
yes, it's not exactly what you call a happy ending, is it? No.
Technique-wise and story-wise, it makes you humble straight away.
But listen, let's have a little look, the quick Pene Pati potted history. I'll try and say that fast after a glass of wine. So you grew up in New Zealand.
Yes.
Originally from Samoa.
Yep.
Yeah. And then, so as you say, inspired by Kiritikanoa. And you just shared that you first came to London on a school choir trip. I mean, that's a youth choir trip.
Yes, and a youth choir trip back in 2005. And I remember it clearly too. I remember one of the highlights is that we sang in St. Paul's Cathedral. And we sang at midday and I thought, my God, we got the chance to sing here. Then we got chased out. We weren't actually supposed to sing. And I will always hold that memory. I was like, oh, okay, this was just on a whim. We just went with the...
That's amazing.
On the
so
fly
you basically gate crashed and sort of
we did.
did a flash mob.
I thought we were invited. I felt so special until they chased us out.
I bet you were great. So were you doing kind of classic choral music or was it cross? What kind of stuff were you singing?
It was classic choral music.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I had joined the choir just because I loved singing choir back at home and I had to sing choir. That was the only way I could play rugby. Yes, it was a rule. It was a rule at my high school. They said, you can't play rugby unless you sing in the choir. So, and then that's how I really got into it.
I like that rule. I wish they had that rule here.
It was such a smart move. Back then I thought, why? This is so crazy. And then they said, oh no, we want to bridge the gap between a choir boy and a sports jock. And they're saying that the discipline between the both are exactly the same. And it worked. It really did work. And I don't know why they stopped that. They only did it in our year. Maybe it's because we had a good rugby team. So they wanted to prove ourselves in the choir. But from that point onwards, I just stayed in all the choirs.
Yeah.
Ever since I left school, I joined the community choirs. I just felt a sense of, I don't know, community with everyone.
And then decided that opera was the way to go and found it.
Actually, someone convinced me. They said, come on, you should give it a go. And I was like, no, I was doing a Bachelor of Science at the time.
Really?
Yep, computer science. I know. I don't know why, actually, when I look back at it.
You're like the most perfect 21st century Renaissance man. He does computer science, he plays rugby, he sings opera. Don't tell me you bake. No,
I do bake.
Amazing.
What are the chances of you saying that? And I'm a good baker too. Oh, that should be it. Oh my God. Pene Pati.
Patisserie. Come on.
Pene Patisserie.
Come on.
Oh.
Just share again the story that you just told me about how you and your brothers got funding to study opera, because this is amazing.
At the time when I started studying, there was no real scholarship out there for us.
And when you say us, you mean island singers?
Yeah, me and my brother, or just singing in general in New Zealand.
Okay.
But also they kind of, and this is no fault of their own, actually. They kind of didn't really believe that we were going to do it. And to be fair, I didn't really either. So they were like, well, why should we give the scholarship to this young man, this young singing Polynesian who probably might not do it? And so I I kind of believed him. And when my brother and my cousin wanted to pursue it as well, I thought, okay, no one's going to fund us. That's just the reality of it. No one's going to fund us. But how cool will it be? How cool would it sound if we did it on our own? And they were reluctant at first, and we decided to form this group called Sole Mio. And we went around and we sang everywhere, and suddenly it just went viral. We ended up doing this huge New Zealand tour, and we used that money to fund our studying. And
You see, that's amazing. So what kind of rep were you singing?
we were singing stuff like Nisindoma of my brother.
Yeah.
It was actually, we're showing them the path of how we got into opera. So we sang a lot of choral songs like Shenandoah, and then we went into operatic songs, into musicals, and showed how we got to opera in the end, and the fact that we enjoy it, and we're just a couple of guys, well, 3 guys who are the most unlikely candidates for opera, and we're just showing everyone, hey, just have a listen. You might like it, you might not, but just have a listen. You never know.
And is your brother and your cousin, are they still singing?
Yes, my brother's, he's actually making his Royal Opera debut.
Oh, shut front door.
Yeah,
Really?
this coming year, I think. I think he's in Giovanni, or is it Sabelflöte? It's one of those.
That's
but-
amazing. Listen, this is kind of like a massive family affair, this, isn't it? Because not only your brother, you've now told him about your cousin, also your wife is in La Bohème,
Yes,
right?
she's in the current
She's
La
Musetta.
Bohème. She's Musetta. And she was part of the exact same group. Not Sole Mio, but we were all trying to figure it out at the same time in our little flat in Splot, Cardiff. And I remember we were all just huddled in our little lounge.
So that's where your studies took you, to Cardiff. So
Took us
yeah,
to
right,
Cardiff.
yeah.
We ended up doing our masters there, and we were all huddled in our lounge going, wow, you know what, we're going to figure it out. The group of us, we're going to figure it out. And now to be on stage, all 4 of us, the 3 of us, my brother and Amina, my wife,
That's
it's
brilliant.
crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
And listen, just very briefly, what's next after this? I mean, I hope some time off, perhaps.
No, it's back to back with the Met debut. Oh, I leave. I'm spending Christmas in the air
Right.
on my way to New York to start Rigoletto.
Wow.
And it's Royal Opera and the Met back-to-back debuts. It's no pressure at all.
No, do you know what? I think you are loving life, and that is the best way to be, right? And it's just all going to be golden for you. I'm absolutely sure. You know, we couldn't resist though when we did hear a little bit about your the other sort of singing that you've done in the past. We've got a lovely track lined up. This is when you sang with the King's Singers. Just tell us about this. This is singing Gaston
Well,
from
they were
Beauty and the
looking for
Beast.
someone really good looking to play Gaston, and I took a lot of convincing, and I thought, wow, there's no one else. I have to do this. But also, I know one of the singers in King's Singers. He's a Kiwi, and he reached out first and said, look, can you do this with us? I was like, wow, heck yeah. I was like, I love the King's Singers, and I was obviously I was a choral singer myself, so I love the style of singing, and it was a no-brainer. I thought I just had to do it.
And it's nearly Christmas, so we had to play something from Beauty and the Beast, of course. Hey, listen, look, Pene, it has been a joy. Next time we're going to block out half an hour for this
Yes,
conversation. I
for
think.
sure.
Listen, have a wonderful Christmas. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you
Best
for
of luck
having
with the
me.
rest of the run, and of course with the Met.